Welcome to Shop Talk 2018, presented by Show Chic, who always puts the rider in first place.
Hypnosis and sports psychology together to help people make change. What we know about the brain, for those of you who have not heard me speak before, is right now we're thinking and talking on 12% of the brain. That's your analytical, rational, reasoning, thinking mind. In your 12% is your short-term memory, 2 plus 2 is 4, and your quick thinking. In there is your willpower. So willpower is really only in 12%. So when you think you want to go make a change and you want to go do something differently and you really think it through and you really want to do it, and you go back to doing the same old habits you've had before without the change you want, why? It's because willpower is in 12%. We really operate off our hard drive. The more I can get people to really think of their brains as a computer. The conscious mind is the monitor. The subconscious mind is the hard drive. And your hard drive is your long-term memory, your habit patterns, and your emotions. In there, it's literal. It has zero analytical, rational reasoning ability. That's how come we have bad habits. If we all could think of something and automatically do it, it'd be a lot different world, wouldn't it? You would write every test at about a score of 100. Just saying, you'd learn how to do it and you'd do it because it'd be that easy. But that's not the way our brains work. And we are functioning because our neural pathways of our brain are how we function in everything we do. My favorite little ditty is to say, how many people woke up this morning and said, oh, it's Tuesday, I better wear clothes to leave the house? Nobody. We all know to do that because our habitual habit patterns are created because of repetitiveness. So most habits need 21 times to create them. That's the way science has kind of studied it and come up with this theory. What we know about hypnosis is a tool. Anytime you close your eyes and you do use your imagination to visualize, to imagine, it is an altered state of consciousness, which is hypnosis. I don't care if they call it guided meditation or visualization, it's all the same thing. There's nothing woo-woo or weird about hypnosis. It is just the ability to relax. What we know scientifically, the reason it works is because we hear our own voice all the time. You see, say, and do 150,000 or 350,000 words and images a day. That's all in your head. So you hear your own voice. What we think through the process is hearing another voice helps change the unconscious mind programmer. So technically, I have to say I spend my days helping people program their brains for what they want. There isn't a hypnotist on the face of the earth that can hypnotize anybody for something they don't want. It's called acting on TV. I don't do any of that. So the process of what we know about the brain is how it functions. Think of the computer, think of the hard drive, think of what's programmed in there. Really, what is your computer programmed with besides your bookkeeping systems? Words. All we are words. The process of how we think about words becomes a word has a definition. You learned words. Remember in elementary school, you had vocabulary tests all the time? And technically, you knew a lot of words just by learning the English language. So I'd like to go over words, but I want to first go over what we do with them. We create dialogue with ourselves. We have dialogue with others. But what do we do in our own heads most of the time? We use words to do what? Worry. We make mountains out of molehills all the time, don't we? I really want you to think of that as a form of hypnosis. You go into an altered state of consciousness and you worry. You go like a daze, and you could go on and on with one subject. Kind of like a little obsessive sometimes, huh? Yeah, a little over and over and over. The mountain gets bigger and bigger. It gets so big sometimes it's like, what the heck? So what I want you all to think about is the ability to listen to hypnosis. I gave you some free ones to go home with tonight, or seeing a hypnotherapist. We use our voices to make molehills out of mountains in your brain. Same thing you're doing, but use of other words and other ways of really getting you to let go of the old way of thinking. Now today, I wanted to take a subject matter to really formulate a roadmap inside of your thought processes about how you think. This is really a kind of a class on what the words are. And I thought, because I come out here and I teach about peak performance, I teach about, the emotionally intelligent equestrian, to raise your emotional intelligence, to be, a little bit more able to handle your emotions. And then I started thinking, I've been teaching Lyndon Gray's kids on Wednesdays, and I went through my whole book and taught them all the different things, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about self-talk. Well, really, what is self-talk? Words. So I started thinking about the power of words. I actually wrote an article for a trainer's magazine, and I took that and I thought, everybody needs to start thinking about their words. Because every thought, everything we do is in a word form, isn't it? So what I did is I kind of wanted to break it down so it was a little easier for you to see where I'm coming from. So number one I want to go over is stop focusing on the past or future. Now this one is I've created it so I could speak to a hunter jumper group and the dressage group. I chipped my first 3 fences the last time I was here. Well, then the brain has already talked about the past and brought it what to the present. And then what does the brain do? It projects it to the future. Because I did it, I saw it, and I anchored it in because I was here. I was here. Therefore, what did I do? I remembered it, brought it to now, and then I saw it in front of me. So guess what I'd probably do? I can't believe how badly I missed the transition, messed that transition up. Well, every time I do a transition, I'm going to mess it up because I've attached that. These are examples of past mistakes. You can always have complete control over the present moment, but where your thoughts need to be. When you bring it here, then you do what? 9 out of 10 times, science has proven, you reenact it. The 3 natural laws of the mind I want you to really remember. You are what you think. A thought creates a physical reaction, and your imagination is stronger than knowledge. That's really important to realize. Have you ever worried about something, your imagination went really wild and none of it really happened and none of it was really true? We as human beings waste a lot of time on what ifs and woulda, coulda, shoulda, a ton of time. In being able to realize that, you've got to really go to the mindset of what you're thinking. If you're bringing to the past into today, you need to stop it. I'm going to give you some tricks to do that, and I'm going to teach you that on the card here you have some MP3s to help you do that also. Stop thinking only of the outcome. This is something I've spent a lot of time recently because all the shows that are going on and what's the 5-star, the 4-star, the Hunter Jumper World, the Grand Prix, all these things, WEG coming up, everybody. I need to win or I need to impress the judges. When you think about the outcome as that mindset, you're putting a pressure on that moment of I need to win. Then winning creates its own 3-headed monster. In reality, especially in dressage, I feel like there's a need to just do your personal best each time. If you look at a test, no matter what level, no matter what you're striving for, no matter what your outcome is you want to achieve, is it humanly possible right now to walk out there. I really want to start riding dressage today, and I want to go to the Grand Prix on Sunday and win. Is that okay? I want to get 100. That's the outcome I want. That's the outcome. She's got a lot more under her seat than I do. I don't even have a horse yet. My baby can't do it yet. I'll show you my baby in a minute. Anyway, but the mindset is, in reality with dressage, your first outcome, I need to win, formulates an energy flow inside of you of what? A need to win. Then you're not focusing on your test. You're not being present with what you're doing. Do I want everybody to do well and do the best they can and get the higher score? Yes. But we also have to look at it, how we break it down to what we produce in the mindset. If we're worried about what's in the judge's box, or if we're worried about whoever we pass, or we're worried about what we did last time, or we're worried about winning, it takes away the automatic responder to sit in the saddle and produce a personal best test. Because what happens at the show, you've got to remember this. The show's not for practice. The show's not for learning. The show's for showing. Got to put your show hat on. You're not out there to train your horse or train yourself or practice. You're out there to do each movement that you've memorized to the best of your ability. To the best. If you have a hiccup, go to the next movement. If you have a hiccup, go to the next movement. Keep it flowing, keep it going, and you'll end up with a better overall result. And the one thing I found out with a lot of dressage riders is really formulate the memory bank of breathing every time you practice the test. Every time you think about it, every time you watch it, breathe while you're watching it. Breathe while you're going over it. Breathe while you're watching your role model on a YouTube video. Breathe. What we want to implement is more breathing in the actual mindset. If you're thinking outside of what you want to do and you're bringing something that is not impossible, but something that's clouding the overall mindset of being there and being present, you're blocking it. Work to change your self-talk to help your belief system and your ability to perform. Working to stop the outcome. If you want to go over the process, you work on changing your self-talk. Who else are you hearing out there? I'm going to give you two metaphors for that. We all take a lot of lessons. We all ride and we all get a lot of instructions. And sometimes we get so used to the instructions when we go do it by ourselves, we're kind of lost out there. I had one lady come to me. She's had every lesson and ridden her whole life, riding dressage, taking lessons with the headphones in her ear. She goes to her first horse show and goes down the center line and goes, there's nobody talking. Oh, shoot. She rushed through the whole test. She couldn't wait to get out of the ring. Why? It was so unfamiliar. She'd never dressed rehearsed. Never dressed rehearsed. Do you know how many people don't dress rehearse? I was so happy. I went to help speak for the USET. They did a program for some upcoming athletes. Debbie McDonald was there, another judge. I spoke, and then they divided everybody up, and they got to go to each one of us. So I had each one per session, and Debbie had each one per session. And they had each part of the program was to dress rehearse. And I went to Debbie, that is the best thing I've heard, because I am shocked at how many people come in my room and they don't do dress rehearsals. Now, why would a dress rehearsal be important? Why?
It helps you visualize.
Helps you visualize and have your right boots, your right pants, your right hat, your right everything on, so you know what it feels like to go in the ring with all the clothes on. And that's important, because the mindset is changing that process to perform. Then the next thing I really, we stop thinking only about the outcome. We want to think about what we're doing in the meantime. And when we talk about words, it's the process of always believing in yourself that you can focus on what needs to be done and turn it into the best possible performance and trust the outcome will take care of itself. Now that sentence I would memorize. I'd highlight all the words in it. Because what I'm doing is I'm giving you to believe in yourself, to focus on what needs to be done, and then turn it into the best possible ability to do it. The best possibility to do it is to trust. I wrote these sentences with words for you to use. Trust. Trust that when you get to the show, you've done all of your due diligence, and you're allowing yourself to go and be present because you chose to do the show. Whatever lessons you learned, whatever you go through in the moment of being there, you have to hear inside of your head the lessons instead of what? Criticizing yourself. Because the outcome will take care of itself. Your muscle memory. How many people drove here tonight? Did anybody park their vehicles? How many got out and measured the parking spot to see if you could fit? All of you did, I'm sure. No, you trusted yourself, didn't you? How about trusting your ability to ride? How about being present with that? Right now, does anybody know how many lessons they've taken in the last year? I had one father tell me, my daughter took 50 lessons last month.
What month?
We're moving it forward rapidly. But think about the brain. The more you do it, what happens? Your nerve endings, your muscle memory memorizes it, so you start writing from an unconscious competence, skill, and ability. Then you develop an unconscious confidence of your skill and ability, like driving a car. So funny, I use that metaphor a lot, and I started having problems parking my car. I was overthinking it. Absolutely. Stop focusing on outside factors outside of your control. I love this one. I hate showing when it's hot. Really? Then don't show, because it's hot in South Florida most of the time. We've had a little cool weather, but haven't we had a lot of heat? And mind you, I grew up in South Florida, so it's hot, and I live here all year long. Then I go to North Carolina where it's cooler. Wrong. It is in the mountains sometimes, but trying at the horse show grounds is hotter than the horse show grounds are here. They did set them up, though, to have good places to get, and he did do a good job of how the grounds are set up. But so if you have that belief system, here's what I want you to remember. If I hate showing when it's hot, what's going to happen when I go to show and it is hot? You're going to hate it. And you're going to hate everything about the day. Everything is going to have a cloud over it of negativity. And then you go in the ring and you wonder why you mess up as much as you do. Well, you started it all off with a eh. If I don't like something, I'm uncomfortable about it. Eh. Thinking about how we respond. Oh, this is the next one I love. I don't like who's judging. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm going to do really good with this one.
Can I just interrupt?
Yes, please. There's a
Instead
question.
of saying, I hate showing when it's hot, is there a difference when you say my horse hates it when it's hot?
You don't want hate in your vocabulary.
Yeah,
You
okay.
deal with it. You find a solution for it. You've got to override it with the positive. We're going to get into some really being aware. What I'm going to go through this with
So
you.
It's more
It's the semantics, it's the processing, it's the belief system, it's the definition of the word.
It doesn't matter who hates it.
It does, and if you think the horse hates it, we'll send him up north.
Yeah.
You know, seriously. And if you have the belief that the horse hates it, you think you're going to ride that horse to the peak level? Nah. No, there's no way. There is absolutely no way. Because your unconscious mind, self-preservation, is going to keep doing things to help you override what is uncomfortable. Fear, flight, fright, freeze mechanism is what happens. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to freeze when I'm going in the ring to do a good job. I don't want to freeze when I'm driving my car either. So to break it down, thank you for the question. If you believe your horse hates the show, you need to do something to get rid of that thought. Cancel it, erase it, do whatever. And a horse, did he talk to you and tell you hated it? You assumed it maybe because he doesn't sweat or whatever. Buy some more fans, buy an evaporator cooler, you know. Find a solution for that if you choose to show in that situation. Now the one about if you don't like who's judging, unless you have to do the show, then don't go. Or my personal opinion is you decide you love who's judging because you're going to do your personal best when that person is judging. Override it. These are the things I help people do. These are the things I sit in my chair all day long helping people change these programs so they can have peak performance. This is about rewiring your brain. Like I keep saying, I make it easy because I give you the MP3s to do it. But consciously, you need to learn it. Consciously, you need to learn. These types of thoughts are a waste of your mental energy. This is what I want you to be attuned to. Your mental energy affects how you function and can only hurt your confidence and performance. I can't hate something and feel good about something at the same time. You can't be nauseous and hungry at the same time. You can't be happy and sad at the same time. You can't hate the weather and have peak performance at the same time. See the differences? Now the next part of it is keeping your thoughts on controllable factors. You know, maybe it gets hot sometimes and we really don't like the heat, but we can't focus on it. Do whatever you need to do. A cool towel around your neck, whatever. I hypnotize people to not sweat as much. I do all kinds of stuff. You can change the dialogue of your brain for the function of what you do in everything. So it's really stop focusing on the outside factors out of your control, because if you can't control them, there's nothing you can do. But if you can control them, then choose differently. And we happen to be sitting in Wellington right now, and I'd say 3/4 of the people are down there showing are going where it's cooler for the summer. I'm not, but I don't show. But my barn has fans in every stall. I have an evaporator cooler that cools my barn down 20 degrees. I do all the things I know work because I know they work. I've lived here 62 years. I got it, and I don't hate it. People go, oh my God, the humidity. I go, what humidity? Because I don't have a judgment about it. Take your mindset and think of everything you have a judgment about. Make a list of it. On the right-hand side of it, change it to a positive or a neutral. I don't mind neutral. And cut your paper and throw away all your negative crap. Life's too short. You gotta enjoy this. You gotta use your thought processing to make use of it. Because guess what? All we are words. What else are we? Everything in this room is a word. Everything in this room is somebody's creation. Somebody thought of that hanger thing there. Somebody thought of designing that shirt. My shirt, this chair. Everything is somebody's thought. What are thoughts? Words. Words, words. So keeping your thoughts on a controllable factor. That's important. Stop demanding perfection. I wrote a whole book called Perfect Enough. What does perfect enough mean? There's no perfect. There doesn't exist. It does not exist. But perfect enough, if you take the mindset, what is good? What is good? Good's pretty good, isn't it? Put good over here. What's enough? If I have enough shelter, enough money, enough food, enough whatever, is enough pretty good? How's good enough? What is good enough? Second rate, second fiddle. Oh, good enough. Well, technically, good enough is wonderful if we all could be in that. I took it one more step because everybody's trying to be perfect, and there's no such thing. Does anybody in this room know anybody that has gotten a perfect score in dressage? So every time you ride, every time you show, you're shooting for something that hasn't happened yet. Wow, that's exciting. I can't wait to do that. But if we take the word perfect and reevaluate a little bit, that all things that are judged, why are we judging stuff? Because we have this image of perfect, and then we're attempting to equate ourselves to that, or whatever we're doing to that, and it can't seem to get there. It's because we don't even really know what perfect is. But if we can take the word by definition that we've all learned and add enough to it, we can be okay and accept what is. What is right this nanosecond of time is all there is. There's nothing else we can do. I don't care what you look like, what you weigh, how old you are, what anything about you is. When you don't know where there's some sort of ability to be present with enough, you're never happy. Ever. I work with a lot of eating disorders, and not one of the people can tell me what they think the ideal body image is, because they're skin and bones and they need to be thinner. I'm like, really? So it's even discovering what you expect yourself to look like. You know, years ago I quit dyeing my hair. I quit wearing makeup because it got in my eyes, because I sit in my chair and hypnotize all day long, and it was just very uncomfortable. And wearing glasses now, it just was not, it didn't work real well for me. So I chose to do this for my ability to do my days. But every time I get something I get invited to do, or get on a TV show or talk show, my sister goes, are you going to dye your hair? Are you going to wear makeup? Are you going to lose 10 pounds? I'm like, no, I wrote the freaking book, Perfect Enough. I think I'm just perfect enough. But think of those words just for a nanosecond of time. I teach this stuff for one reason, because I want people to find that place to be happy. To be happy. And when you do so, you've got to stop demanding perfectionism. This needs to be a perfect go. Well, we already said that for dressage, that's not going to happen. Berating yourself for small mistakes. I want you to think of the horse as a mirror of you. That's a Chinese proverb or something. If you look at your mistakes as lessons. I'm sure no matter how old everybody in this room is, has anybody in this room ever learned any lessons in life? Have you ever said the statement, gosh, I wish I were 20 again and know what I know now? I'm not sure what I'd do, but yeah, I do, never mind. Forget that one. But think about that a minute. Unfortunately, I don't have a time machine for you, but I do have a life machine. The use of what you think, berating yourself for any small mistakes, whether it's in the show ring, whether it's in life, no matter where it is. Because like I said earlier, what is where we are right this minute. There's no other place we can be. Nothing. And knowing, demand that you do the best you can at each moment. Now, I have a theory here. If we can wake up every morning and do the best we can every day, that's pretty darn good, don't you think? You know, we can work on this, we can work on that, but not beat ourselves up for it. Finding solutions for anything that bothers you, and being able to create positive thought. Create positive thinking. Words to avoid. These are, I'm going to walk you through them. Try. I'm sure everybody in this room knows try is a sucky word. You know, if I'm going to try to come up here and talk. I'm still trying, by the way. I'm not going to talk because I'm trying to talk. I remember learning this. I was taking a class and the guy up front threw a pencil on the floor and I was sitting in the front seat because I always like to sit in the front seat. I jump up and I grab the pencil because I like to be a good student. Hand the pencil. He throws it down again. Second time he threw it down, I went, there must be a trick here. He goes, Laura, you picked up the pencil. I want you to try to pick up the pencil. That means you don't pick the pencil up. So trying to do something, erase it out of your vocabulary. Get rid of it. Hope. There's a reason I talk about hope. Hope is still something you're always hoping for. I want you to change that word into trusting instead of hoping. So try, you want to say I can. Instead of try, I do. Hope, I want to trust. A problem. If something's a problem, 88% of your brain keeps making it harder. I want you to replace the word problem with hiccup. Because hiccups go away. Hiccups we can get over. I don't know a lot of people that when they have problems, they want to get rid of their problems. Their problems become their way of life, their thinking, their way of doing everything. Can't, not, don't, and won't. Now can't, not, and don't, your brain doesn't really hear the nots and the don'ts. That's just some science I need to teach you right now. If I say don't think about the black horse, mine's really pretty. Actually, don't think about the paint horse. And then I'll show you mine. I was waiting to do this. Now I can do it. If I can get my phone to stop all that stuff. How do you get rid of all the stuff on the screen? And I'm techie. Think of a cute paint horse. Don't think of one. I got an image of mine. So when you think of that, when you go to ride, you say, I'm not going to miss my transition, or I'm not going to miss my lead change. Guaranteed you're going to miss it. I can't say the name of the trainer because I don't want it to be videotaped. But I was watching someone give a lesson the other day, and I'd just given my speech, and I counted 8 times she said don't, and I watched the student do exactly what she said don't do. And the person sitting next to me, she says, that's exactly what you just told her. And all of a sudden it dawned on her, she turned around to me, she said, I get it now. And it never dawned on her all the years because you just keep yelling at the student to keep doing it. Not do it, don't miss it, don't, you know. Even when I know this stuff, I teach it and I know it, it still slips out of my mouth. It was funny, we were on a hunt buggy in the woods going through a swamp, and my son was driving, had a bunch of friends of mine, they're all clients, like they all get hypnotized by me. And my husband yells out, don't stop, and my son slams on brakes. And my husband starts to yell at him, and everybody on the buggy turns to him, he says, your subconscious mind doesn't hear don't or not. He goes, I know. I know. So we had to wait an hour and a half for his buddy to come pull us out. And we know this. My son knows this. My son teaches it. My son is a hypnotist. We know this. But the instantaneous hearing it, the brain can't digest it. I know it. And I'll be standing making coffee and he'll tell me, don't back up. And I back up. He says, I told you not to. I go, oh, God, darn it. You know? So it's really, these words have to be memorized, the replacements. If you don't want something to happen, what do you replace it with? What you want to have happen. And it does take a little bit of work. Write down in your own handwriting what you say all the time where you have don'ts and nots, and sit down and come up with a replacement for it. Come up with a replacement for it. And then throw away the don'ts and nots in the garbage can. Burn it in the backyard or rip it up and put it in the trash compactor. Because the subconscious mind is incapable of producing a word not in your behavior. Incapable. So what if I'm teaching my kid to not fall off his bicycle. I go, tell him to stay on. So this was years ago, girl helping me, my assistant at the office, and she was reading some of my work before I went to speak somewhere. She's, yeah, right, Laura. I go home and try it. She had a kid, bunk beds. He liked to run out with bare feet, liked to go on the bicycle. I said, what's the list of things you don't want him to do? She said, well, go home. Tell him, don't do it and see what happens. He did everything. I said, now, what do you want him not to do? I want him to be safe on the bunk bed and stay in the bed, not fall out. I go, get rid of the not fall out. I want him to wear shoes out to ride the bike, not don't forget your shoes. And what was the third one? Oh, there was another one. She comes back every week and she says, you're not kidding. This stuff really works. I went, duh. It does. But for riding, it is so important because what do you tell yourself all the time? Not to do the last mistake you had. It is a waste of energy, a waste of time, and I guarantee you, your riding will improve unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because it is believable. When you experience it, then it's believable.
So don't forget it.
So what?
So don't forget it.
Don't forget it. Remember it.
Yes.
Remember it. That's funny you said don't forget it. When I first became a hypnotherapist 18 years ago, I never thought I'd be doing this in my second half of my life or middle half of my life or whatever. But somehow the torch from my mentor was passed on to me when she passed away. And I overcame a lot of fears, which a lot of y'all have heard that story, to do what I do. I just had a passion. Somehow somebody up there created this drive for me to help as many people be happy. Because all we're here for is what we are here for, and we should enjoy life. We can live through lots of trials and tribulations. I've had a ton of them. My life was given to me for me to learn, I think. And I've had near-death experiences 3 times, and I'm here for a reason. So I use these tools to help people in all areas. I have fun with the equestrians because I don't ride, so I ride in everybody else's brain. But we learn this stuff so we can implement how to help. So I became a hypnotherapist. Well, when you come out of the box, the first thing, guess what you start out with? Stop smoking and weight loss. So I lost 45 pounds, so I was a good example for the process. I didn't smoke, but I did smoke when I was younger, and hypnosis did get me to stop years ago, like 25 years prior to that. So I wasn't very successful at my stop smoking sessions. And it was really annoying me because I went to this school where they told me 1 session does it all. Really? So I went back, took some more classes. 3 sessions I can guarantee you'll stop smoking. So my averages were like 70% success, which I think that's pretty good. When you do groups, you're 40%. So I took a class with a friend of mine. He says, just hypnotize them and tell them to forget to smoke. And I went, wow, that's kind of easy. I came home, my percentages went from 70 to 95% success rate, telling them to forget to smoke in the subconscious mind, hypnotizing them and telling them to forget. They come in the next week, I forgot to smoke. I forgot to buy the cigarettes. Oh my God, I quit smoking. That's simple. Yes, it is. It's what?
Words.
Thank you. So we want to get rid of that. The most powerful words to use, and I'm sure you've heard this before. I am. These 3 letters, when put together like this, I am, are a powerful tool for both negative and positive self-talk. If you say, I am angry, self-fulfilling prophecy. I am happy, self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to be happier. Have you ever heard the statement, fake it till you make it? I really buy into that. If you don't know what it is you want to be and you're creating it, if you pretend it, visualize it, look at it, you put a roadmap in your brain, you actually create neurological pathways in your brain to create that behavior. Then, as lucky as we are to live in 2018 with all of our YouTube videos, We can actually see what we want to emanate, mimic, and be like. I had this one incident. I was helping somebody, and this is cute. Betsy, I'm going to use it. Betsy Steiner. Somebody came to me, and her role model is Betsy Steiner. So I said, okay, I'll hypnotize you. Go home, watch a video of Betsy. She has good position. She looks great on a horse. She's, whatever. So she comes back. We use the imaging. We use the role modeling. We do all this. About 2 weeks later, she calls me. Somebody saw me riding across the field and thought I was Betsy Steiner. I went, really? Woohoo! Your brain, we are all monkeys. We mirror and match. Guess what the brain did? Yep. And we really got it in. So the I am, she believed she could use the role modeling, and I am riding just like Betsy. So her brain memorized it. Then any other I ams, anything you want to do. I am good at what I do, because I do a lot of it. It is the mindset of believing the I am. If you took on one statement, if you walked out of this room tonight with one sentence to memorize and just function off of, I can guarantee you'll be happier, you'll live life better, and it'll be a much easier process. Just one sentence. I am perfect enough. Memorize that. It'll change your life, and I guarantee it.
If you're perfect enough, then what's the goal to keep getting more perfect?
Thank you. I've been waiting for that. Then what is the goal for working on being better? Because you can still do everything correctly. You still can do everything correctly. But you're starting with a base of not a negative platform to get going with it. I can always increase something, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Technically, if you take a dressage test or a jump course or a baseball player or a billiard player or school, I do a lot with kids for learning. I get people over ADHD and all that stuff to focus, whatever it is. If you know there needs to be improvement, if you're not beating yourself up for how bad you are, then you're at a really nice neutral place to where you can create what you want to do next. Then, since we know there's not really perfect, we can do it correctly. Think of a dressage test. Anything you're working on with your horse. If you did it correctly, how's that? We can do things more correct. But for some reason, perfect does not exist. It doesn't. And that's not just my opinion. There are thousands of books out there written about it. So it's really just formulating words again. We're just talking words, interaction with words. And I appreciate you asking that, because in looking at it, perfect enough just means it's enough. I mean, I could have written good enough, but for some reason I chose the word perfect because everybody's trying to be perfect. Everything that a person does, whether working on their weight, working on whether they're aging, whether they're doing a sport, whatever it is, all my its, there's millions of its. It all comes down to one thing. They have this image in the mind of always not being good enough at doing it. If I'm never good enough at doing it, am I happy all the time? I have another word. Let me see if I talk about it here. I'm going to go and use it now. It's not on my list here. Always. If I'm always breathing when I sit in the saddle, isn't that awesome? If I'm always on time, if I'm always, whatever we put with always. So I kind of like the word always when I'm working with people, because I'm changing the old behavior to good behavior, the behavior they're wanting. So I use always, so I help do what? Compound it. What's compounding? It's a mathematical equation, making something stronger and more powerful. Compounding it. So if every time you always breathe in the saddle, what's going to happen in the brain? You're always going to breathe in the saddle, except for if you have this program. I learned this one the hard way. Lady comes to me. She really gets really nervous going to the show. She really wants to show. She gets nervous when she takes a lesson, so we get her riding great, at home, schooling great, and everything's great till she goes down the center line and she starts not breathing again. So she comes back to me, she's doing, it works everywhere but the ring. Well, I did anchor in the ring that you would breathe too. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did your mother when you were little tell you to suck your stomach in because you look thinner? I'm thinner, aren't I? I'm really thin. I look at her and I go, did your mother tell you that? And she goes, oh my gosh, yes. And when I go down center line, I go, and I go, gee, I bet those judges thought you were thinner. She says, actually, I turned blue and almost fell off. So I had to tell her, she doesn't look thinner. She's just not breathing doing it. So we changed that. And then I said, do you want to make some sessions? We'll lose some weight if you want to. But you're not going to look thinner going down the center line with your sucking your stomach in. So we took care of it. So what did I do? You always breathe going down center line, and you accept your body the way it is when you go down center line. Period. The other part of that equation is accepting the word always. Lady comes to me, she's a jumper rider, and she was having some issues. I'm usually most people's last resort. That's okay with me. And we start talking. I end up helping her. She had tinnitus. I turned the ringing down her ears. I did all this other stuff and then start working on the riding. So I say, use that same sentence. Every time you sit in the saddle, you always breathe. Have a great session. She comes back. And it worked. Everything's great. But there's a word I don't like. I don't use this word in my vocabulary, and I don't want to use it with me. I go, okay, whatever you say. I don't like the word always. I went, okay, I'll make sure you don't always breathe when you're in a saddle. What else would you like to do today? She goes, never mind. You please use the word always. Now that's the word I want you to go home with. To really put the positive next to always so you can make the transition. How to change your self-talk. How do we need to change our self-talk? What do you think about self-talk? Do you ever keep track of your self-talk? Do you ever think about what you say to yourself all the time? Become aware of it. Become aware of it. What do you say to yourself all the time? Did you wake up this morning, go get ready, and look in the mirror and say, you look great today and you're going to have an awesome day?
Got on the scales and said, 5 pounds too many.
Got on the scales and said, yes, that's exactly right. It's amazing how many people do that. I don't know. I just want to enjoy every day. This is a great metaphor. I got to tell it. We get information from all kinds of things that cause us to have cause and effect, that make us react, okay? My husband and I, we share, I have my side, he has his side, but he has the shower on his side. So morning times, we'd like to, this is on tape. We like to shower together. Wow. Always. What can I say? Not until I liked myself. Not until I liked myself. But he started this new thing a couple months, well, maybe a little longer, 6 months ago. So we just renovated, so it's kind of neat. We've been in our house 28 years and the bathrooms were horrible. I mean, we just made them really nice and now we're enjoying them a lot. So we set up a radio to play music in there. Well, now we have Alexa. But she's great. My husband discovered her where she's in every room. We just go from room to room, Alexa. But he likes to listen to oldies. So I got out of the shower. I like it quiet because I see a lot of people. I talk, hear people all day long. So I like it quiet. I get out of the shower, he's turned the radio on, and I go to brush my hair. And there's an oldie on that is triggering some awful stuff in my subconscious mind from teenage years. And I'm getting to feel like, ugh. And I turn around and he's in the shower singing and happy and all over the place. I'm like, wow, we got some different programming, don't we? I said, hey, honey, do you like this music? He said, oh my gosh, reminds me of my teenage years. I had a blast. I said, well, I'm glad yours are great. Mine sucked. This song's making me feel awful. And I walked out and shut the door. So the next morning, nothing else was said. He had Kenny G on. My favorite music. And no words. Think about that for a moment. If you're driving in the car, excuse me, and an old song goes on, it will affect your mood for the whole day. It will affect your mood for the whole day. It will really and truly change your thoughts, your feelings, and everything. When I teach people about that, is to become aware of it. Here's how you need to think about it. I need to teach you that. I want to teach you one more thing. If you're talking on a phone and you're busy driving, what you hear in your ear, that person's hypnotizing you. It can cause you to feel worser than dirt. If you're hearing somebody else's problems or something else is going wrong, make an attempt to do it when you are focusing on what they're saying. And when you listen to music, make sure it's music that makes you feel good. If it brings up a past experience that's not healthy or you have a bad association to it, think about how you feel. Notice how you feel afterwards. It affects you. Unbelievable. And when you're showing, make sure you avoid anybody that has any negativity around you, and be careful what you listen to. Really important. Extremely important. So words, so when you come up with the self-talk of what's affecting you, I've told you music, I've told you environment, I've told you words, stop the negative and replace it with the positive. Here's what science has proven. One negative needs 4 positives to override it. That's a lot of work. I'd rather just get rid of all the negatives so I don't have to override all the time. Here's mindfulness. Mindful training is to know that an emotion is there for a reason. When we know our emotion, what is the emotion for? Become aware of it. Then choose what you want to do with the emotion. It's not always about just being happy, but it's neutralizing the negative. Neutralize it. Neutral's better than negative. Neutral is better than negative, especially when you're riding. When I say stop it, I teach a word called cancel, delete, erase. Erase it. You need an actionary word to change thought. An actionary word to have action to make it happen. Replace it with the positive or just neutral. Practice the act of stopping negative thoughts. I was in a lot of traffic the other day, and had nothing on my mind, but all of a sudden I realized I'm gripping my steering wheel like this, and I'm going, wow, whew. Did one hand, did the other hand. I just relaxed. I didn't even realize I was that tense. But maybe I saw something, maybe, who knows? But I caught it and I stopped it. That's the control of this mindset. Now, hypnosis that we talk about is a programs for the unconscious mind. The cancel technique is what I just mentioned. Cancel, delete, erase, actionary words. And then if you cannot come up with the positive, I teach you to think of a purple elephant. What's a purple elephant? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It can be anything. I don't care what it is. I just made a purple elephant 18 years ago, and it doesn't matter. But what it does, it neutralizes it automatically by having a replacement. And if the replacement isn't what you want it to be, then you can do what you need to do. Because the subconscious mind makes up 88% of your mind. 88%. Right now, we're only talking on 12%. Everything we've talked about tonight is processed in the unconscious mind as a program. Please, as mechanical as this is about to say, I can promise you that in the 88% long-term memory, habit, pattern, emotions, it's literal in there. If you don't have a program to handle something, it just means you need a program to help you handle something. I have a computer on my desk in my office, and I use this as a great example. I can't write a check off of it because it doesn't have a check writing program on it. If I need to write a check, I have to install one. So if there's anything in your life that you feel like you want to do better, correct, or change, go, oh, I don't have a program for that. That's the best way to look at it, and then figure out how to have a program for it. How? How do I get it in there? Well, in all my years, the one way I've learned you can is either hypnosis or NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which Jane Savoy writes a couple books about that, so do I. There's a lot out there about it. Tony Robbins does hypnosis, NLP. All of us are doing it. What it is wake hypnosis. I like to say I use both, so I think that's why my success rate is what it is. So I like to do a combo effect. But really what it is using the theater of your mind, your imagination, creating the roadmap that you want to create, and implementing it in your brain so you know what you want to do. So if I told every one of y'all to go out in your car and I want you to go to Timbuktu and you don't have Siri on your phone, what would y'all be doing? Sitting in the parking lot. It's really looking at life that you need to have a roadmap. I loved learning this one. What's the most important part of a puzzle?
Picture.
The picture on the box. Most people go to the corners and the picture on the box, because you want to know what you're doing. That's what role modeling is. That's what using YouTube videos to help increase your skill and ability, what you're working toward. That's what it's about. You're creating a pathway, and it's actually the neural pathways are building in the brain that image and creating it. And then the mindset is that you're learning how to control it by using the tools. And these are the tools. My website's on there. There's all kinds of information on that. What's not on here is lauraking.net, and there's, I think 400 MP3s on there. And I remember when I started, someone says, well, why are you making so many different MP3s? Do one subject. I go, well, not everybody needs one subject. And I record a lot of them because I needed them. Because if we don't have the programming, I can promise you can hit play and put it in. It's that easy. And there's the easy button. I saved the easy button for last. Everybody know what the easy button is? Staples, red easy button. It says that's easy. That's easy. I was at the Horse Show World Cup and I went to Staples there and I got an easy button. It says it in every language.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool? Anyway, a little off subject there, excuse me. The easy button. How many people think certain things in life are hard?
Yeah.
Really? What?
Languages.
Really? Not when you really work on it. I help people learn languages too. But if you have an easy button on it, it becomes easier to do. You really think about doing something. If you can transform your thought process, and I'm saying that because you don't know this about me. I thought standing up in front of a group of people was harder than heck. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even speak to my 9-year-old Girl Scout troop. I'm probably the only Girl Scout leader that hired a co-leader. It was Camp Beverly Hills, but whatever. Everything was hard. I wouldn't record my voice. I wouldn't be up here. I wouldn't do a lot of things. I was always behind the scene person. Then I decided, well, here's what really happened. My mentor passed away. I came home from the funeral and I said to my husband, what am I doing the next 50 years of my life? Because I thought I'd be working with her when our kids went to college. He says, you do it. And I said, not possible. He said, well, if hypnosis really works, you can be hypnotized to do it. So that's what happened. I went to school my first day of internship. I had a panic attack. I was 40-something years old, didn't even know what a panic attack was. I had one, couldn't breathe, couldn't get out of the chair. I stayed after school and got hypnotized and hypnotized 5 people the next day and haven't stopped since. So that's the story. But speaking in front of people, I had to work on it. I get hypnotized for it. I created a CD, Public Speaking, and I listened to it a lot. And then I became a public speaker. Then I teach it now. So I'm telling you these things because these are the things, anything you want to do is possible. But I want you to add the easy button to it. It's a lot easier if you believe it's easy. It's a belief system. Why? It's a word. Back to the power of words. Use your words to help yourself. Every one of us is perfect enough. Every one of us has the ability to shift, to change, and to be happy no matter what is going on in your life. It's the help to help you learn how to handle it. Any questions?
Do you mind repeating those first 3 things you said, like we are what we think?
Okay, the 3 natural laws of the mind are, you are what you think, a thought creates a physical reaction. I can say something and make you laugh. I can say something and make you cry. The 3rd one is important for this. Your imagination is stronger than knowledge. Because that's how come things get out of kilter and you worry, you make mountains out of molehills. If you can hone in on that one and use your imagination to role model, to create it the way you want it, then you become it. That's science. That's science. Make sense? Any other questions? I want to say something about hypnosis real quick. It's just relaxation. You go in and out of it all the time. It's not anything. Actually, I tell people just to go to sleep listening to my MP3s. You fall asleep, you sleep better, everything gets better. So the mindset is shifting, so you just allow the brain, because we're talking on beta level brain of the brain right now. When you pray, meditate, and do yoga, you go into alpha. With the sound of my voice, you go to alpha and into theta. And then that's really good area where your brain is hearing my voice without the filter system so that my voice is heard in your brain. It's like why it's really bad to go to sleep with the TV on at night. For the first 30 minutes, your brain is hearing what's on the TV without a filter system. Causes nightmares, I become a miracle worker just by getting people to turn the TV off and go to bed. I'm really not. It's just science. Because it's absorbing the information without being able to know it's not true for the person. So what you do is with the use of my voice and by using, you go into theta, and then for sleep, after that, you go into delta where you get the best rest. So if anybody has any sleep hiccups, listen to the MP3. If you wake up, hit play again. If you wake up, hit play again, and break that cycle. Because sleep is a habit. 97% of what you do every day is by habit. 97%. 97%. Any other questions? So we're going to do a giveaway. That's the end of my speech. Thank you. Oh, I should